Warning. This podcast contains spoilers.
Third World Cinema Club.
Hello guys, welcome to Third World Cinema Club, your podcast for shenanigans in the Philippine film industry. I'm John Tawasil from Present Confusion.
I'm Engelbert Rafferty Dulay.
I'm Jim of Jimmy Licolati Papa.
I'm DJ Ramones of ReverseDelay.net. Ogs Cruz from Rappler.
And finally,
Listen Zinampano of Rappler and the Rapper Hustle section.
wow, bago na.
Yes, branded. Not branded. It's the under 35 culture section.
please listen to his podcast. Oh, podcast reader yun. Hindi, joke lang. So today we're gonna talk about the films of Cinema One Originals 2019. Ayan. So 8 competition films, probably something about the shorts, and then our usual segment at the end. So let's start with Yours Truly Shirley. Yan, but directed by Nigel Santos. So Yours Truly Shirley is about this woman played by Regine Velasquez who believes that her deceased husband has been reincarnated in the form of a male pop star called Jameson Kervin. So naging fangirl siya. So sino sa inyo nakapanood ng Yours Truly Shirley? Yan, kami dalawa lang ni Ogs. So tayong dalawa. Ayan.
Habang hindi pa tayo.
Tayo muna habang hindi pa tayo, Ogs.
Okay.
What did you think about this film? What did you think of this film pala?
It's okay. I mean, it's very harmless. Harmless siya in the sense na it's entertainment. You can watch it. You can forget about it. You enjoy a few of the jokes, and then ayun na, wala kang mapupulot talaga. I think it's a very missed opportunity because the premise itself is interesting, 'di ba? Parang yung napansin ko lang talaga dito is yung pinaka-liability niya is the casting of Regine Velasquez. Si Regine kasi when Nigel decided to latch on Regine, parang natanggal na yung opportunity yung ng pelikula na maging about may ang ganda ng chance na it's about an old woman wanting to become a teenager because of the perception na nandun yung asawa niya, di ba? So si Regine Velasquez nandun siya sa middle ground eh. She's not old enough and she's not young. So yung scenes na nagpapanggap siyang matanda, halatang acting eh. Parang may salamin siya, nagzuzumba. Sure, middle age, pero hindi believable na manang siya. And then yung transition niya to become younger than the manang self, hindi naman rin naging believable kasi may mga scenes na ang sexy niya, na naging artista siya, naging celebrity siya. So I think it relied too much on the celebrity rather than on the promise of the premise na it's about an old woman na suddenly naging mas bata, naging
bumata,
naging uncharacteristically
young.
Bata. So sayang yung comedic potential ng pelikula.
So in an alternate universe, like who would you cast?
Well, gamit na si Nova Villa. But siguro parang Rustica Carpio. Or Anita Lida.
Ay!
Perla Bautista.
Pwede. Mga ganun. Well, sobrang tanda na siguro no. Pero yung may kasi like si Shamin, yung
Lorna.
Yung nag-Lorna siya. Ayun talaga comedic siya kasi all of a sudden nagkaroon ng youthful vibe yung manang because of romance. This one is a really missed opportunity because of the casting of Regine.
So John, wait, question. So Ogs mentioned na parang siyang pleasant, but it's like kung baka filler siya. So is it like Elenia L or I haven't seen it, so ano siya. Kasi diba that's what we talked about in previous episodes na Elenia L is basically the same thing na it's not offensive, it's pleasant, but ano lang siya. For the time
Hindi offensive yung Elenia.
Sorry.
May tae doon.
Not offensive. Not offensive in a way na ano yun,
Hindi siya pag-uusapan.
In a politically correct way, pero not offensively bad. Sige yan.
In my review I likened it to John Lapus pang MMK. Pero actually mas gusto ko pa nga ng konting pang MMK kaysa dito eh. Kasi at least may something na sinasabi pa rin yung pang MMK. Like Og said na it's about youth, yung parang matanda na they get us parang second chance or something like that. It could have also parang depicted fandom culture. Kasi nandun na yung framework mo na meron fan clubs, may mga meet and greets, ganyan. Hindi mo rin masyadong nakita yung perspective nung object of obsession. So sobrang babaw nung character ni Jameson Kervin with an H. Na tipong he's just like this object of parang what is he as a person? Wala akong nakuhang ganun from this film.
Who played Jameson?
Hindi ko kilala.
Ano daw? Rate Carayon. Yung name. Introducing eh.
Introducing.
Oo.
So may may other Wikipedia na tayo aside from Jameson.
Ayun na po, dalawa na po tayo. Pero yun nga, it's ang dami niyang opportunities to expand on its material.
Tama ka eh. I think ayun yung pinaka-problem talaga ng screenplay eh. Ano siya eh, sobrang babaw niya. Parang there's no intention for it to rise above yung very cardboard-like portrayal ng lahat ng pinanggagalawan ng pelikula.
Yeah.
So even the portrayal of the old woman, the people around her, the showbiz culture, everything is
surface level,
all for the sake of the gimmick.
Yeah.
So there's no exploration. So bakit ko pinili? Bakit?
Yun. So anyway, let's go on to the next film. Yan, J.E.T. Glau's Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis! Alam niyo yung palabas na yun. It's about this intersex person played by Gold Azeron who comes of age sexually, physically, whatever, as he discovers his place in society. So I think, is this the first full-length feature film na Filipino about intersex individuals? I think so eh.
Well, he claims to be the first
Yeah,
intersex.
I haven't seen anything. Have you
Me
seen?
neither.
Yeah. So, have all of us seen Metamorphosis? No? Sino nakakita? Okay. Of course. So, ayan. Sige, Jim. What did you think of
God.
Metamorphosis?
Gulat ako. Matapang yung pelikula. Yun yung masasabi ko or na-observe ko with Metamorphosis. It's just that, syempre this year, may nauna yung John Denver trending. Although it's a different story, pero yung from the start of the film na makikita mong troublemaker siya. So, John Denver trending. Ganun naiisip ko. Tapos may eksena particularly doon sa naglalakad siya sa daan. So another parang similarity ng eksena with John Denver trending. Although ang mako-comment ko with the film ay yung supporting actors kasi talagang ang galing ni Iana Bernardes dito. Even ni Ricky Davao and Yayo Aguila.
Bumangon na sa puntod niya si John Denver kasi kinumpare mo siya kay kinumpare mo yung movie niya sa
Lumabas yung kamay niya sa lupa.
Tapos diba, ang setting ay 90s or Damilu ay 90s. So parang may another film na naman akong naiisip while watching it. Yun yung Bill and Emma last year sa Big Cinema. So ang another pa na maganda dito sa film, yung cinematography ni Tay Clamor as in. Saka yung color talagang maganda eh dito sa
Yung
film.
mga visual motifs niya very on the nose minsan eh, 'di ba? Yung nakatakip siya ng kulambo, cocoon yun,
Yan,
diba?
oo, yan, very
Tapos yung mga butterfly symbolisms.
yung may blanket na
Yung may blanket.
nanginginig siya.
Yun.
Yeah.
Tsaka yun. It was parang slated before for Silimalaya, right? As Maselang Bakari.
Yeah.
And
controversial.
ayun. In that way, para siyang, it feels like a Cinemalaya.
Na si EG yata wants to talk about the controversy surrounding it nung Cinemalaya.
No po. Hindi tayo sure. Hindi, no, just for context na lang din.
Para makasuot tayo ng label, no?
Like
Sikat
last
tayo.
2016, Maselang Baghari was pitched during Cinemalaya. Selected pala, rather. What happened was the film backed out because of funding. However, even before the film had backed out, it already had controversy.
Engelbert Rafferty do live sa mga magkakasa ng libel.
Yeah, ayokong pag-usapan eh.
Tuloy mo lang, tuloy.
No, but the controversy
May lawyer
was
ka dito,
about
Ox.
the poster. So, there was this, it was a very cool poster. It was like, may
Poster
head
lang ba?
na nakatingin pataas, tapos was filled with rainbows. But apparently, it was a plagiarized work. So, merong may-ari na nung artwork na yon, tas ginamit as the, anong tawag doon? Yung teaser poster nung Maselang Baghari. So, yon, it became one of the controversial, camera route.
So kaya siya naging conscious sa IP, intellectual property. Kasi the decision to change the title from Maselang Baghari to Metamorphosis is because nga
Song, yeah.
because of the supposed IP concern ng Eraserhead song. So ayun,
Para umiwas din.
para umiwas sa controversy.
And speaking of Cinemalaya, yun nga, yung para for me, it felt like a Cinemalaya film in another film festival na trapped sa Cinema One Originals. Parang, kasi di ba mga Cinemalaya, they have this certain parang tone na you notice. Parang ganun yung feeling ko na nakukuha.
I wonder if Maselang Baghari pa rin ang title niya. Ano yung mga visual metaphors niya? May
Mga rainbows, ganun.
rainbows.
Iba-ibang kulay.
At saka, if my memory serves me right, back then, yung role ni Yayo Aguila was supposed to have been portrayed by Irma Adlawan.
Okay.
And, the actor back then was not Gold Azeron. Because at the time, Gold Azeron was already starring in
Was a kid.
film called Lando at
London
Bugoy.
Oh, siya si Bugoy.
Yes.
When he pitched this Cinema One, nagpakita siya ng rushes ng previous film. And on the strength of yung rushes ng Maselang Baghari, may mata talaga si J.E. Tiglao. Maganda yung pinakita niya.
Actually, I was part of Rebelde Film Camp 2015 kasi I watched his films dati. Kasi may film screening kami, tapos puro film.
Saan yung camp?
La Union.
Ay, sa La Union.
LU.
Ang kasama ko ay iba to sa si Armando kausapin mo for the other film camp na I mean the next film camp, the 2016 one, na mas nagkaroon ng controversy. Pero yung mine was pretty happy naman siya.
Masaya.
Ang kasabay ko na siya na Kenneth Dagatan. Yeah. So, yeah, actually na-enjoy ko yung short film niya doon. Medyo same siya ng themes na gano'n, very coming of age, small. Actually, mas pero may dark undertone. So, parang nun in-announce nga ito, para sa I want to see how he works when it comes to full-length features. Tapos parang
Mamaya na lang.
Parang, sana short na lang.
Pero ayun, balik sa Metamorphosis, maganda naman siya.
Yeah.
I mean,
Gusto ko siya.
maganda siya.
There's
It's-
no denying the beauty of Metamorphosis.
It's probably one of the better, if not, for some, maybe one of the best films in this festival.
one of the most beautifully shot films of the year.
And it's, kung mapakinggan niyo yung review ni Philbert, it's about acceptance din. Na, although it shows the struggles of being othered by society in general, lalo na siguro in the 90s na medyo less progressive than it is now.
Do ako para i-commend the attempt. Pero it's like, it's still far from what I'd call like a great film. Okay, it may be good-ish, pero even to call it really good for me, parang, kasi it started strong. I like the first acts. Parang feeling ko nagkaroon siya ng, it went downhill for me nung dumating si Ivan the Doctor, Ivan the Slang Doctor.
Nga pala, about that scene, hindi ba may part doon, spoilers din pala, na yung nandun silang dalawa sa kama, tapos medyo minomolestya niya yung doktor. Parang, pero walang nangyari doon, parang it fizzled out lang din.
si Ogs was saying a while ago na okay rin na it became,
Sa akin kasi parang, at first, when yung lumabas yung doctor, parang okay, nagiging parang Wikipedia siya on intersex. Parang okay, the doctor is there to explain everything you need to know about this phenomenon.
Klase of intersex.
May pagka-didactic
yeah.
siya. Eh, no?
And then, pero I liked how the doctor turned into
An object of desire.
another object of desire. Yung parang the female side of Gold Acheron's character, as opposed to Iana being the male side of Gold. So maganda yung dynamics, except that tama ka, very on the nose lahat ng mga plot points. Even the metaphors are all so obvious, but it's the topic itself
Needs to be
kasi it's a this or that.
Yeah.
So lahat talaga, it's easy to put symbols.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's everything worked out well, even despite the obviousness of his messaging.
Ako parang i-commend at them, pero like, okay, after the doctor came in, okay pa siya sa akin, pero naging too pastiche siya of Call Me By Your Name for me minsan na parang it's too on the nose nga. Pero okay pa siya doon. For me, what I really didn't like, in mga bandang dulo, it's like, all the stories were trying to come together. Ang kalat niya na parang, okay, naging contrived na to a point na, ay, nakita tong dalawang tong characters na to. So parang there's so many things na it was trying to do. And then nung bandang dulo pa, the dialogue was verging on bad na talaga, na cringy na.
Sukat toyo.
Sukat toyo. Like,
Equal portions.
yeah, like, parang feeling ko hindi na siya wink-wink, hindi siya yung wink-wink, nudge-nudge. Siya na may mga tito na nag-joke, tapos parang sisko ka parang, gets mo, di ba? Gets mo? Ganun yung level of dialogue. Kaya parang bandang dulo, parang, for me, like Adam na, who by the end of the film decided what he wanted to be. Sana yung film rin decided what it wanted to be.
Pero at the end, he
I'd rather
didn't exactly decide yet.
Pero, syempre hindi naman, I'm just saying na parang at least, parang may metatextuality na, okay, the film, at least, yung character found out na okay, itong gusto gawin.
Parang it's okay to be either one.
Pero the film itself, hindi alam anong gusto yung gawin. So,
Hindi, tama kayo. I guess that's why it feels like a Cinemalaya film, because it's very formula, as opposed to Cinema One film that doesn't mind meandering, na magulo yung pagkalatag pero maganda. I think ayun yung pinaka-problem ng Metamorphosis. Yung first part, ang ganda niya kasi coming of age na hindi mo alam kung saan yung direction na pupuntahan.
I wish it maintained that tone. I mean, yung first act niya, sana ganun yung tone. If hindi siya nagdag ang matawag doon, yung parang maraming crossroads and maraming...
It was beating around the
Pero
bush.
question ko, how would you arrive at ayun parang there has to be a certain sensitivity for you to tackle such a unique subject, such a subject that could be sensationalized without parang kung hindi ka if it didn't end up nicely or as perfectly as what was done in the film, yung mga loose ends niya pwedeng subject to controversy.
Yeah.
Ayun yung
Okay, I want to hear more about that.
Ayun yung nakita kong problem. Ngayon ko lang nakita na problem ng film. Parang since it's so controversial, I think JE is so allergic to controversy that it wanted everything to be pleasant. So it's too pleasant a film for a subject that is
I would agree.
that can be very controversial.
Yeah. I get. Yeah, now that you mentioned it, siguro nga JE went for the safe side kasi nga ang dami.
Yes.
Like you've been talking and parang you already brought up 3 controversies na meron pa nga more na attached to his name. So baka nga it was safer, pero feel ko lang I don't know kasi I'm just imagining maybe simple fixes would have made me enjoy it more. Siguro tinanggal na nila yung contrived parts.
Meet up ni Iana at ni Doctor.
Tinanggal na yun. Sana the dialogue.
Eyeball nila.
Tinanggal nila yung suka toyo. Feeling ko those are the things na parang nag-stick sa akin na okay, even without altering the story too much, I would have enjoyed siguro more if by taking many of those parts out, it would be it would maintain yung tone niya nung mga first parts niya, first 2 acts niya siguro.
Siguro yung naging problema lang talaga ng pelikula for me was hindi nagkaroon ng ng characterization yung mga characters ni Ivan Padilla, yung doktor.
Feel ko
Parang ano lang siya parang nandun lang siya to serve his purpose, which was to educate and nothing more.
feel ko dapat i-recast. release the Tiglaw cut. So, wala bang other cut na iba yung actor. Release the
Yun. So, maganda siya. I guess, I had a debate kasi with 2 people regarding sa Metamorphosis. So, syempre, ako yung nagde-defend doon sa pelikula. Tapos yung dalawa against doon sa pelikula. So, yung idea na pinagdedebatehan namin is that yung dalawa, sinasabi nga nila na the film was too cliched. So, which I get the point. Pero, in my head, iniisip ko, because the film was not tackled yet, or the subject matter of the film was not tackled yet, paano mo siya ipe-present? Kumbaga, that was the question in mind that we were all trying to figure out. Hindi namin na-figure out in the end.
Pero ang kasi dun it's like, is it our burden to identify how we should tackle? Kasi we are audience members and okay, we add discourse. Pero para sa akin rin, I don't wanna impose like, okay, dapat siguro ganito ginawa niya. Pero like, I wanted, siguro if I were the one debating with you, ako nga ba? Hindi naman ako. Parang, I would say, I would have wanted it lang to be done through conventions na hindi ganun ka... Kasi parang feel ko minsan at times, parang it was really copying directly from Moonlight and Call Me By Your Name.
I agree. Yun. Pero, despite the copycat, the mimicry of those films that were mentioned. For me, I think well-intentioned naman siya. And it says a lot about how J.E. Tiglaw wants to make his yung paano niya ipapakam across yung message niya.
Feeling ko it's connected rin. We've been talking about how he's very on the nose. So feeling ko even when references, script, kailangan niya pa mag-work on yung minamasahe mo yung
siguro kung hindi niya na talaga sinashove yung message sa lalamunan ng mga tao. Okay naman talaga.
Pero may mga scenes talaga doon na
Toyo,
maganda.
Maganda.
Kasi nga on the nose siya. Parang I don't mind
it being on the nose.
Gusto yung mirror na scene na...
Or yung kahit yung nasa kulambo na umiiyak siya, na nasa cocoon siya. Maganda siyang tignan eh. And I think yung strength talaga ng film is yung visuals.
The visuals naman talaga.
So, how do you balance
Anong
that?
compromise
diba?
mo
Anong
with
compromise? So, as it is, it's okay. It's a good film. It's a good film. It did what it need.
Tsaka yung end
wanted
part
to do.
ng pelikula, yung nagsuot siya ng dalawang spoiler alert, yung dalawang...
Nagsuot siya ng palda, tapos nagsuot siya ng polo.
Tapos at the same time, pinakawalan niya yung paro-paro. Kasi diba ilang beses namatay yung paro-paro.
So nagsuot siya.
Parang combo no? Sunod-sunod.
Just in case di nyo na-gets. Ito pa, ipapakawalan niyo para
Ito pa guys ito pa.
Kumaga parang sinasabi niya talaga na pinapalaya niya yung character ni Gold Azeron.
Talaga. Hindi ko na-gets yun.
Talaga pa. Tapos yung sa dulo, yung pinakadulo talaga is yung lumalangoy siya, 'di ba? Tapos yung nude na siya.
I guess additionally din, meron kasi ditong comments from Emil Hofelenya who was in the jury. Sabi niya,
Emil na who couldn't join us today pero
yeah.
he was supposed to be
Hi
here.
Emil. Where it's one of yung Metamorphosis is his personal favorite of the lineup. And medyo weird daw talaga na bakit the MTRCB wanted to, censor it ganyan. Yung niya, it's genuinely beautiful and respectful. I think it plays din into why J.E. Tiglaw wanted to play it quote-unquote safe. Kasi parang he still wanted to be respectful to the source material. Ang hirap kasing
that's true naman. I get it. It's not an easy task to to be the pioneer when it comes to tackling such a sensitive subject matter.
Tsaka controversial na siya to begin with.
Ayun yung tagdagan.
Bakit easy?
The director is...
Anong ginawa niya?
Ano yan? Please tweet to...
Feeling ko message na
Sa akin, it's the same problem with John Denver Trending. I like the film, but yung subject matter niya is also its biggest fault. Parang I didn't like the ending of John Denver Trending. Pero saan ba pupunta yung pelikula na yun? Kundi doon. So it's the same here. Yeah. It's a subject matter that is very controversial, that could be sensationalized. So all he had to do was be safe about it and be very lyrical about it.
Would it have been better if the film ended the way Eduardo Roy Jr. ends his films? Like,
In uncertainty.
open-ended. Yes, exactly.
Last full show?
Fuckboys, nandun siya sa puno.
Yung Pamilya Ordinaryo ganon. Nawawala pa rin si Baby Arjan.
Yung John Denver Trending, though parang for me kasi mas maayos ang data ng John Denver Trending. Like I have the same comment as Ogs na parang the ending, parang it's what yun yung what you expected it to be. Na parang you wish na they could have done something or they could have shown you something na you were not expecting.
Yeah.
Pero yun ang logical endpoint na, and actually it actually happens, di ba nga recently nagka-case sa UP
It's
na,
based on a true story.
and even right now, di ba, just recently, a few months ago, or last month lang, something happened sa UP na a student was cyberbullied and
Committed suicide.
Hindi, parang sa John Denver Trending, parang if it had to end that way, I just wish that it was executed more elegantly.
yeah.
The same here.
Agree.
Parang if it had to if it had to resort to a very safe message, sana it could have been done
More
not
elegantly.
really elegantly, pero with a lot more sophistication.
Yeah, agree.
Pero I think the difference kasi between John Denver Trending and Metamorphosis, the way I see it is, sa John Denver Trending, you have a lot of basis for you to be able to deliver or come up with such a film. Whereas with Metamorphosis, it claims to be the first film to have tackled such a subject matter.
Pero ang issue ko dun minsan, hindi lang sa narrative minsan yung execution,
Ayun.
like how yung storytelling was kalat sa dulo So,
Ayan. So, sure, some of the visual symbolism is too obvious and the conflict created by Angel and the Doctor character can be contrived, but J.T. Glau's direction is downright euphoric. Even the scene where Adam starts touching himself isn't judgmental or exploitative.
Ako really like that scene na he was touching himself na DDP niya sarili. Ano matawag yung he was doing both.
Parang
DDP
nagpa-finger
niya.
siya, ganyan.
He was pleasuring both sides.
Yeah. And
Parang reveling in his duality.
He's a great actor, deserving of the Best Actor trophy.
Alam mo nga, when I was watching it, nandun siya sa screening namin.
Si Golda Zeron,
tapos
katabi mo siya.
Hindi ko katabi, kalikod ko siya. Tapos yung mga barkada niya, kinakansyawan siya dun sa scene. Medyo awkward tingnan na hinaano siya ng mga friends niya na parang, nice.
Medical comment lang sa Metamorphosis. Parang hindi pa although ngayon meron ng mga sex reassignment surgeries na laganap. In the 90s, parang hindi pa yata siya ganun kalaganap, I'm not sure. Also, endocrinologist si Ivan Padilla sa film na to. Pero he's talking as if siya yung mag-o-opera kay Golda Zeron, which is, well, yung mga surgical na ganun, it's a completely different track. Na tipong, kung doktor ka na with those two parang subspecialties at the age of 33, if I'm not mistaken, yun yung age niya nung sa pelikula.
So can you say na
Parang siyang Doogie Howser na ibang level.
So hindi reliable yung consultation na dapat nagkaroon sila ng second opinion.
So contrived din yan.
Pwede. Balik sila kay Kuya Boji. Charot lang. So yun, punta tayo sa next film, O by Kevin Dairit. Yan.
I bet.
O by Kevin Dairit is about this ex-medical student turned embalsamador named Ana Luna.
Who
Ana Luna.
Maria SNM.
Yeah. Named Ana Luna.
who fancies,
Named Ana Luna.
Who fancies necrophilia.
who fights Macy, the joke. Who gets involved in a vampiric drug distribution ring. And she falls in love with a half Japanese 40-year-old vampire played by Jasmine Curtis. And then shenanigans ensue. Ayan.
Yeah.
So ako muna start na.
Sige.
The first, yung credit sequence ng O, it's like one of my favorite parang opening of any film this year. Yung may Four of Spades na I'm a butterfly, wawala. Tapos yung credit sobrang hindi seryoso, na tipong ito, tao hindi nakapag-crowd control. Kasi nakalista yung mga tao. Tapos gusto ko siya. Tapos well, the rest of the film happened and it's obvious na hindi siya tapos na pelikula. I mean, inamin naman ito ni Kevin Dairit na they didn't shoot half of the film. And napanood ko yung first cut nito, yung when it first came out. At sobrang technical difficulties is an understatement. Na tipong there are literal minutes in that version of the film na walang sound. Tapos may isang scene where Jasmine Curtis is standing against like this very scenic, very nicely shot Tapos parang she's like talking to you from across the room. Halos di mo siya marinig. So lots of sound problems. Even though, the film is maganda yung pagkakuha niya. Pero yun, it felt like a really incomplete film. I rewatched it yesterday after they reworked it. The sound is much better. Pero it's still kinda confusing. Medyo non-linear yung pagkasabi ng kwento. And makikita mo yung style talaga ni Kevin Dairit na may fetishization siya ng mga characters niya. I mean, he's a dun sa dialogue pa lang, he's a very anime fan otaku siya, di ba? Na tipong, I mean, dun sa culture na yun is, there is this fetishization of cuteness and of, kawaii culture, di ba? Na para makikita mo dito, pero hindi siya nag-translate all that well. Pero yun, for a kind of part, a little part, na-enjoy ko naman siya. Pero I admit, very, very flawed yung pelikula in terms of a lot of things. How about you guys? Nakakita ng O?
Ako parang at its core, it's like, I like the idea. Ang sabi ko nga, description ko sa kanya, I'm reminded of yung SEM ko with Richard Bolisay last SEM, na may final paper kami. Tapos parang nung finish ko yung idea ko, parang ang ganda pakinggan. Pero nung gagawin ko na, parang krinam ko siya. Parang fueled by coffee ko and so many energy drinks. Tapos parang incomprehensible ako at times. Tapos parang yung mga filler, kasi kailangan ko abutin yung 5,000 words.
Kaya pala
parang
master crammer.
Parang kung ano-ano sasabi ko na lang.
Si Richard Bolisay, ayan po.
So parang feeling ko ganun yung naging... feeling ko parehas kami ng spot ng director na parang at times, kasi you appreciate the idea, the attempt na it's very novel. Na you basically create an underworld na talagang underworld. Gets parang dual meaning, yung dual purpose yung pagka-underworld niya. You're dwelling with vampires, but at the same time, may world building na it's a drug trade, and then there's so many vampires. Pinag-isipan na they're call center agents. Sila yung mga nubile porn kasi they're young, and at the same time, when you divergenize them and they bleed, they heal again. I mean, may mga ganun flourishes na I enjoyed, pero parang yung parang minsan talagang it's overcompensating for me at times. Though gets ko na it's supposed to be chaotic, it's supposed to be frenetic, very Greg Araki. Pero lang minsan I don't know if it's style or parang inaano na lang yung there's some scenes na ginagawa na may words na lang na nakalagay. Sisulat na lang yung mga nangyayari. So you know what happens.
Those title cards, sabi nga namin ni August nung diniscuss na dito, pwede siyang daya kasi hindi nila shoot.
Daya siya, pero at the same
time, it's also stylistically ginagamit yung mga Japanese directors din.
Yeah, so I don't know how to feel about that, pero okay naman. Yung nga lang, yung sa dulo talaga like I had no idea na what was happening. Feeling ko, it's like when you try to rush something and at the end, you're thinking, how can I cap things off? Parang, okay, yun na lang.
So what are your thoughts about it?
Sa akin, I'm glad that it exists.
Yes.
Kasi, yeah, sure, failure siya. I mean, aminado naman yung director na hindi niya natapos yung pelikula. A lot of the scenes weren't shot. He had to make do with what he has. And that salvaging process, coming up with a film that looks like this, and despite the incomprehensibility of everything, hindi ko na-gets yung pelikula, but it still spoke to me. Parang there are traces of brilliance all throughout the film.
Agree.
So, sa akin, at I'm glad that it exists. I'm not sure if it's parang is it a signifier na hindi nagwo-work yung festival system, considering that there are filmmakers like Kevin Dayrit who will never get a chance at making the films they want to make in the mainstream system, pero they have to make do with tight festival schedules and the very tight resources given by festivals, and come up with half-baked products that only show partially their capabilities as filmmakers. But as it is, it's wild. Yung first part reminded me, yung campiness ng first part reminded me of Hausu. And then one thing, tama yung pagkapanalo ni Kevin ng Best Music, because I think it married all the disparate visuals of the movie. So it's again, it's a failure, but I'm glad that it's around. It's more Cinema One than Metamorphosis.
Yeah, it's one of the most Cinema One films.
Truly, surely.
Yeah. And shameless plug, if we're gonna talk about like mga the model, the festival model, si Mick Red, we actually talked about it sa separate podcast namin sa Rapper. It's called Inside the Industry. So sabi niya, it's really an improper model. That's why he's trying to do something different na parang basically bypass the festival and go straight to distribution. So it's either by going abroad and then building the demand there and then bring it to the Philippines, or like selling it to Netflix directly para kaagad. Wala na yung anxieties of gaining an audience sa festivals or even new starting weeks sa mga sinehan dito na the demand that we don't yet have the safeguards. So,
although
we talked about it like 2 oras, so
pero yung mentality na rin yan ng filmmakers parang festivals like Cinemalaya, they're given more time now to make films, pero they'd cram. They'd shoot the film. They'd shoot the film 3 months before festival period. So hindi ko alam kung it's a malady na dinulot ng Cinemalaya, Cinema One mentality sa industriya na ganito na lang talaga tayo.
I think we talked about that nung podcast po natin nung Q Cinema.
The previous one.
Remember, we talked about Kaaway sa Sulod kasi.
Sa Kaaway.
So, I remember Kuya Richard saying na
Kuya Richard.
Ate, charot.
Hoy, hindi. Chardo.
Nakukulihin na naman ako ni Kuya Richard. No, but ang naalala ko kasi
parang popstar lang Kuya Richard.
I know, right? Yung sinasabi kasi ni Kuya Richard before was that hindi talaga tapos ni RB Barbarona yung Kaaway sa Sulod. And siguro if the film had been given more time and more siguro hindi na sa budget pero yung time lang to finish in terms of the writing and at the same time yung production niya, siguro it would have been a great film. Tulad nga po ng sinabi ni Kuya Ogs kanina, lahat kayo kinukuya ko, no?
Sige na po.
Yun na nga.
Sige na, iho.
Tuloy mo lang, kapatid.
I think hindi nga siya failure eh. It's sad to hear that it's labeled as a failure because the people who made it had a lot of heart and had a lot of passion in
for me naman, even if we don't have to relegate failures as a negative.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
Kasi okay, you failed to achieve what you did, pero ano naman yun it's a learning experience and parang you learn from it, and for me, I'd always go for the failures that tried rather than yung safe work.
Yung mga finone it in, medyo lazy.
Diba? I'd rather na yung at least nagsuntok siya sa buwan and then failed at it kaysa naman yung parang nag-maintain lang siya sa baba na, okay, ito na yung gusto ng mga tao, ito na yung makadali, ito yung kayang kopyahin.
Pag-usapan natin guys yung ending ng O. Yan. Which is kinda not easy to parse, pero...
Ang nalala ko doon, si Billie Eilish. Si ano pa?
She was Billie Eilish all along.
Yeah, she was Billie Eilish all along.
So, si Ana Luna has been speaking to this other girl, Lollipop,
Billie Eilish.
played by Lauren Young.
Who's
And-
playing Billie Eilish?
Who's playing Billie Eilish. And... Hindi.
Naniwala siya.
They actually, the feeling ko it's a direct reference. Kasi parang pares, as in same sila ng damit.
Damit.
Same sila ng buhok.
Yeah.
It's blatantly Billie Eilish.
So Ana Luna wakes up, she finds out that Lauren Young is a vampire, and she goes to a refrigerator, finds body parts there. And we get a montage of scenes that imply that Lauren Young and Jasmine Curtis' character are basically part of the same person.
Parang siya Hannah Montana pala. Like si Billie
parang
Eilish
Hannah
sa gabi.
Montana.
Siya si Jasmine Curtis sa umaga.
ang wild na ng references natin. Tapos, yun. And Jasmine Curtis is not happy about her immortality. She's been trying to kill herself for the longest time. Yun. So, she hires Mang Jose, the aswang killer who drinks formaldehyde, to kill herself para suicide by aswang hunter, parang ganun.
Yeah.
While she's in the Lauren Young state. And she's dragged to the beach where she dies via sunlight.
Wait, sunlight?
Di ba, dinrag siya sa beach, tas tumaas yung araw, tas nalusaw na siya.
Sorry. Kala ko okay sila with sunlight. Ako nalito.
May sunscreen kasing ibang vampires. Tsaka di ba naka-raincoat siya?
SPF 400.
SPF 1,000, ganun, 1 million.
Yun ang pala kailangan.
So anyway yun, I had fun with it. It's a fun film. I mean, kung gagawa siya ng parang O2, OO,
O2.
P, ganun, next letter.
Ano pala, let's totally forget na na necrophilia si... By the way,
Necrophilia doesn't work that way, guys.
The
This
necrophilia
is coming from a
si-
guy who works with dead bodies.
and definitely not a necrophiliac, di ba yun?
Oo. Tsaka yung mga bangkay na pinapadala sa med school, matagal na yung patay.
Di ba,
Hindi mo na ma-injectan yan para tumaas yung...
Sa Ana Luna kasi di ba sa first scene
Yung, oo.
Sa first scene, basically, she has her way...
With a newly... Pwede pa siguro yun. Pwede pa. Pero yung mga...
Coming from the
pwede yung mga,
corpse
charot. Pero yung mga med school cadavers, matagal na patayan. As in, babad na yun sa formaldehyde. Kasi crusted na yung organs nila. So, hindi mo na sila mapapa... Oo. Tsaka, ano yun? Masakit yun. Charot. Pero yun, fine. Not really that realistic, guys. Pero yun. Whatever.
So for those who are interested in necrophilia,
Please consult. Joke lang. So let's move on to the next film. Yan. Lucid by Victor Villanueva. It's about this accountant played by Alessandra De Rossi, who is kind of at a crossroads. She tries to escape the boredom of her life by going to her dreams. She's a lucid dreamer. And one day she meets JM De Guzman, fresh from kung paano siya nawala. Now he's now he's dreaming in this space, and
So-
for some reason he's invaded her dream.
nasagot yung question, paano siya nawala, pumasok sa mga
Pumasok siya
dreams.
sa dreams, nag-inception siya. Ganun.
Doon siya napunta, doon siya nawala.
Nag-split na sila ni Rian Ramos. So, so yan guys, Lucid. Have you all seen? No? Jim?
Go
Of course,
easy.
Ogs. Sige, ako na lang siguro muna. So, Lucid's my favorite film of the festival. It's a really, really well-written film, well-directed, I guess. Hi, Victor. Joke lang. It's not really about dreaming per se for me. It's not also about... It's about loneliness, but a specific kind of loneliness. You can say it's about mental health or depression, but it's not just that. Nakuha ko yung hugot ni Victor Villanueva kasi recently he lost his dad, if I remember correctly. Parang may hugot na ganon from that film. It's more about Gerald from Siniliwanag. He has the same thoughts as I did. It's about this parang postmodern reflection on societal disillusionment na parang it's parang in the same vein as Babae at Baril, in the sense that ang daming mga maliliit na microaggressions against us in society, na you have to perform this, you have to be successful, you have to, even though you've lost someone close to you, you still have to hit your like financial targets or whatever. It adds to it eh. Kasi if you just look at it as this narrative about this girl who thinks dreams are better than reality, once the reality gets better for her, she finds a family, she finds a boyfriend, she's relatively better off, she's in a better house. Pero she's not happy. So parang parang may na-undermine. It's trying to dig at something deeper eh, as the cause of her loneliness, na hindi siya masyadong
yung loneliness niya was killing her. Sorry, British Spears.
killing her softly with his songs.
Sorry, nag-reference ang British Spears na hindi bumenta.
It's mixed grief, it's mixed ennui, I guess, maybe. It's dissatisfaction with society in general. Kasi society is trying to impose to people that this is the dream that you have to live. You have to have a family, you have to be rich. But to Alessandra's character, it's not working.
It's like you have to tick those boxes. Like even whatever you're going through, because of the expectations, you have to tick these boxes. So parang ano rin siya eh. If you've seen si Raphael Bob Waxberg of BoJack Horseman, he actually...
It's kind of like that din.
He has a good series that came out this year sa Amazon Prime. It's called Undone. Starring Rosa Salazar of
Battle Angel.
Alita Battle Angel. So basically, yung ginawa rin, meron siyang show, it's really good. Rotoscope siya. So it's like, doon naman, instead of dreams, it's like there's this, doon na rin, millennial ennui. Parang dissatisfaction, depression, na at a crossroads, tumatanda na siya, hindi niya alam if ito ba yung gusto niyang gawin sa buhay niya. So, ang nangyari, she gets diagnosed with, she gets into an accident, pero after this accident, she gets to see visions of her father, of her deceased father. So, paano nangyari, yung she's using this as an escapism na parang, in disorder, it's not clear if it's a disorder or if she's actually having this parang, ang term na time travel, pero it's really, alam mo yun how si Dr. Manhattan sa Watchmen gets to see what happens in the future, parang simultaneous realities.
Parang astral projection ba or something
parang
like that.
So parang, it gets very surreal. So parang siyang rotoscope, and it really works kasi like yung reality, this couldn't be done in live action kasi sobrang surreal na the scenes shift, the scenes become so surreal in a second na parang feel ko it hits the same targets as the Lucid is trying to hit the same targets na which I appreciated, na parang it's escapism through these surreal worlds na basically your dreams, na parang basically what John said. And I think may added intertextuality pa na by casting J.M. De Guzman, na we know his troubles as an actor, di ba? So like when he's talking about escaping from the reality that he knows, parang feel ko
may pagkaganon din siya.
There's a deeper level of resonance when he delivers those lines kasi ang tagal niya nawala eh. Oo. So parang I appreciated that attempt. Yun nga lang, feeling ko at times yung hindi ganun kalinis and it gets lost in its own haze mga bandang dulo na in its storytelling. Pero for the most part, okay siya sa akin.
Ogs, ikaw?
Well, the conceit kasi is very juvenile.
Yeah.
Parang, alam mo yun, may katulad nga siya na e-book na Lucid din yung title, na it's a romance. Nag-meet sila sa
Wattpad.
I'm not sure kung Wattpad, pero
Fanfiction.net.
pero almost the same storyline. Parang there's a romance, and then yung Prince Charming niya is also a lucid dreamer. And then as it turns out, comatose rin daw. So again, sorry, it's a spoiler. So napaka-juvenile ng conceit. And at first glance, parang ganun nga yung lucid. Na Alessandra De Rossi escapes the humdrum of reality to find J.M. de Guzman, her Prince Charming in Dreamland. If you look at it that way, parang it doesn't make sense because yung aesthetics ng reality ni Victor Villanueva, very orderly, very ang ganda. Maganda siya. Masarap siyang tignan. As opposed to yung dream sequence wherein everything is hazy, filtered nga, mukha siyang finilter sa Instagram na malabo lahat ng nakikita mo. So, why would you prefer something as ugly as that when reality is actually quite fine?
Yeah.
And then,
Get very-
it evolves into more than just a love story, more than just a romance, and it becomes a character study of this woman who has no control over real life,
Of reality.
which is why she prefers lucid dreaming, because there
She has
total control.
Yeah.
Except in the dreamland, wala rin siyang total control because all of us hindi niya kayang i-control kung kailan siya magigising.
Yes.
So again, it's parang it's a nice way to portray possibly depression, possibly mental health issues that would have human beings prefer this sort of escapist world wherein all the troubles of real life are not there.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very delicately drawn out character study. Again, I have problems with how everything is laid out. But it's still a very strong film.
Yeah.
Um,
For me,
balik ako-
it's a noble attempt. Parang siyang noble attempt at something na it has layers in a way na
At saka it's
hindi appreciated.
I mean, immature talaga yung
Yeah.
immature yung concept niya.
May parang subversion na pumasok doon.
ang teeny bopper talaga, di ba? Dreamland. It's teeny bopper, pero the gravity of what it wants to say
Iba.
was properly laid out.
agree.
Punta ako sa comments ni Emil about Lucid. So, Lucid is an incredibly well-written film, but it's arguably even better edited. I agree. It's not that often that a film about depression takes the time to show how someone with the illness can still fall back into it despite being supported by the right people.
Yeah.
But his hesitation regarding Lucid, and ultimately the reason why he didn't push for it to win Best Film, was that he didn't feel like the ending was particularly useful, especially for audience members who may also have depression. So he understands the film's value as a cautionary tale, but to show Annika choosing to remain within her dream is potentially irresponsible. If it ever
It's a nice note.
gets a wide release or another festival appearance, I think he thinks it would be much better if the film was accompanied by information, yung parang John Denver trending, where if you're depressed, seek help.
Actually, I realized na rin kasi again, going back to Undone, sa Undone daw, it really, nag-effort siya na to make it, kasi on one end, diba, it's like saying, okay, mental illness is a superpower, kasi parang time travel, diba? Pero, they really worked hard to nuance it para people won't get that impression na if you have a problem, seek help pa rin, diba? So, siguro this was something na, I really like na Emil pointed that out, kasi people can take away the wrong message.
Yung basa ko kasi iba yung basa ko sa ending eh. Before, Annika was using dreams to escape reality, right? Or, to get some version of control over her own life. So, para escapist yung function ng dream sa kanya. In the end scene, which is very different visually presented compared to her other dream sequences, wala na yung dream filter. There are some special effects, pero it's clear as reality eh. She's using dreams as therapy. She's using dreams as a means to yung maglabas ng kasi she can't talk to anyone in the real world. So she's using the dreams to
Escape.
as a source of catharsis for herself eh. Which is, I guess, I'm not sure if that was the intent, pero yun yung basa ko, which is different from yung basa ni Emil about this film.
And I
Pero-
think, I don't think Victor Villanueva was attempting to create a PSA sort of film.
Yeah,
That's why hindi nilagay yung if you need help, seek help.
Pero wait lang, let me... Ang problem kasi doon, feeling ko, even if you're not trying to make a PSA, you're sending a message out, you're putting a message out there by letting your work out into the world. So, syempre, kailangan ng responsibility when you do that sort of thing. So,
The thing
I
is,
agree with Emil.
did he think, I guess pwede natin itanong to sa kanya, did he think that this film is necessarily about mental health?
Yeah.
Yeah, kasi baka yung intention niya was different, which is why it didn't register to him na...
Saka
Actually,
nasa
for me,
tone din
envy
yun
nga
eh.
eh.
Parang
Envy
John
ang-
Denver trending was bleak.
Yeah.
Ito bang
It
film
was
na to?
very
Is
blatant
this-
yung sa
na
John
yun,
Denver.
talagang yung intention, kunyari, nung director ng John Denver was talagang about suicide, cyberbullying. So talagang
Saka,
naglagay siya. ng-
you wouldn't really find entertainment dun sa film na yun. Pero with Lucid ba?
With Lucid, it's not as clear to me anyway. It's not as clear to me na it can be about depression, pero depression is just one parang facet of the whole
Exactly.
package. Eh. So nagets ko naman yung I guess if the intention reflects what I think about it. Baka kaya siguro hindi niya nalagay yung
And yun yung I think that's what made the film so beautiful eh. It's the mystery and the layers of the film that even made Alessandra De Rossi's very parang nga siyang chamber theater at some sorts kasi very in character si Alessandra De Rossi as a woman who's trying to escape the mundanities of life. Yung pagbabasa ng mga pocketbooks, yung pagko-commute niya everyday, yung struggle niya, yung the fact na ginagamit niya yung lucid dreaming as an avenue for her to escape that feeling of loneliness that's devouring her. Yun talagang what siguro kaya nakakonect ako ng sobra-sobra doon sa pelikula. Kaya I think that it's not a PSA sort of film because it's up for interpretation. Many people would think that it's about depression. Many people would think that it's about escape. And that's what's beautiful about it. We can interpret it as that. We can interpret it as this. If Victor Villanueva is able to siguro send a more specific message, hindi pa rin mali yung interpretation ng iba about Lucid.
Alam mo yun, hindi open for interpretation doon. Yung favorite scene ko na may magpropose, tapos sa likod nakalagay, will you marry me? Pero nagulat si babae nung naglabas siya ng ring. Parang, di ba
Hindi ko pa
nabasa?
nagugulat. Baka hindi siya, baka short-sighted siya, ganun.
Kasi sa likod, exactly, di ba nakalagay, will you marry me? Tapos parang, si girl, ano kaya mangyayari?
Chalet.
Sa labas ng...
Ayun, so let's move on to the next film yan. Ay, sige.
So, short lang. Ako, I like the film. I like the film. And, ako rin kasi yung basa ko, it's about depression. Kasi yung may mga manifestation talaga na pinapakita yung character ni Alessandra De Rossi. Although, another interpretation kasi na pwede mo makita with Alessandra De Rossi's character, aside from Inui, ay yung highly melancholic siya. Ganon. Kaya parang, she's trying to escape from reality by reading mga romance novels, ganyan. And then, aside from that, yun nga, the lucid dreaming is also her way to escape and at the same time deal with her issues. Ayun. So I like it. I like the film. Actually nga nung pinapanood ko yung part na dream sequence, it reminds me of Robin Williams' What Dreams May Come. And yung part na yun nga, spoiler alert, na may comatose si J.M. de Guzman and then through lucid dreaming yung way niya to connect with Alessandra De Rossi somewhat reminds me of Just Like Heaven ni Reese Witherspoon. Yun lang.
So, let's go to Tayo Muna Habang Hindi Pa Tayo, directed by Denise O'Hara. It's about this couple played by Jane Oinesa and JC Santos, who are a couple but they aren't, or maybe a couple but maybe they're not. Ayaw nila ng labels, but it's due to something in their pasts. And yun, that's basically all of the movie.
Ang gulo.
So, ayan, DJ, since you've seen Tayo Muna Habang Hindi Pa Tayo. What?
Dito nga pala ako.
hindi ako nag-expect masyado sa pelikula na to. Akala ko ito yung entry na, ito yung pangmasa entry, quote-unquote, yan. Tapos parang sobrang hugot ng title. Pero nung napanood ko na, sobrang nag-enjoy ako. I found it really engaging. Yung structure kasi niya, it's non-linear, di ba? Na I really loved how it started na in the middle of the action. Ano ulit yung term doon in Latin? Parang in medias res ba yan? Na, yun, magsisimula siya, akala mo, parang minimiss ba ako na eksena kasi parang ina-assume na niya na alam mo na. And then it eventually answers those questions. Pero otherwise, it's a very simple film nga, di ba? So, yun. Hindi, I feel like it's more of for entertainment pa rin rather than really trying to discuss something new. Although may pahapyaw pa rin siya na about how women should be, yung common feminism themes na I should be enough, ganyan. I am confident, ganyan. May mga ganyang linya si Jane.
With a smile.
Pero, in terms of style, interesting sa akin na ito yung pelikula na naalala ko yung sinabi ni Prime Cruz about Isa Pa With Feelings na yung first cut daw niya ay sabi ng mga black sheep or executive, sabi nila, ang sikip-sikip nito.
Sabi ng black sheep.
Sobrang claustrophobic daw nung pelikula. And ito yun, na parang buong pelikula silang dalawa lang talaga yan, no? Parang
silang dalawa lang.
Sobrang umiiwas pa nga yung camera na mapakita yung mukha ng ibang mga tao.
Yeah, sure.
Sila lang talaga. And this other person sa past nung one of the characters.
Ang galing din, yun yung actually favorite scene ko sa Tayo Muna, yung confrontation scene ni JC tsaka dun sa yung ex niya. Na tipong, eto na, alis na tayo, tapos nag-confess sa kanya yung babae, tapos naglabasan sila ng dirty laundry, tapos ginawa pa ng babae na it's about him, na, ikaw, immature mo, hindi, tapos gano'n. Tapos may mga shots doon sa sequence na yun, isang tik lang. Pero yun, enjoy ko yun. And it's the main source of his neurosis na ayaw niya ng labels, di ba?
Ako naman yung favorite scene ko dito, yung dinner. Yung bigla na lang sila nag-pause, tapos parang tatanungin ni, ano ulit yung name ng character? Basta si Jane, parang tanong niya.
Si Alex.
Si Alex, yeah.
Si Alex.
Thank you. Anong ginagawa natin dito? Tapos parang, same question kayo as audience. Parang, okay, but
bakit sila kumakain?
Ba't biglang tumahimik na lang kayo after 1.5 hours of endless talking? Biglang tahimik nyo, ganyan. Anong iniisip nyo? Ang galing lang.
Ayan. Ikaw.
Actually, yung sinabi mong favorite mo, ayun yung pinaka-ayoko.
Ano yan? Actually.
I don't
Awan
think...
na yan.
I don't think the film, feeling ko disservice siya sa gustong sabihin ng film. When Denise decided to craft a flashback for us to understand yung supposed neurosis ni JC Santos, nawala yung pagiging current ng pelikula.
Kasi immediacy niya.
Not the immediacy, pero parang, kasi yung attraction ng pelikula is that it's about relationships nowadays. Contemporary mindset na no labels. And then all of a sudden, binigyan mo yung character ng reason bakit ayaw niya ng labels. So ngayon, naging narrative device yung instead of it becoming a portrait of contemporary relationships, naging melodrama na naman siya. Naging ano na naman siya, naging infidelity story na naman siya, na it's about a guy who can't move on. Kaya siya nandito. Ang ganda sana ng pelikula, ang ganda ng mechanics nila, because these are two individuals who can't seem to decide whether they want to be in a relationship because of their difference in opinions as to how relationships should be. And ang entertaining ng conversations nila, ng arguments nila, out of essentially nothing. It's just labels, except that it's the in thing now. It's like Open. It's the same problem with Open, actually. Na it wants to tackle this kind of relationship, except it needs to be very formulaic again.
Yeah, yes.
So ayun yung pinaka problem ko sa kanya. If it only decided that it wanted to be current, it wanted to be contemporary without being too formulaic. It could have been a nice mumblecore film, except that it's still the same old.
I forgot
shit.
who said it. Meron nag-tweet or like meron one of her friends who posted na this is exactly what I don't like about romance dramas. Yung parang basically it fits the same ano tawag doon? Mold as One More Chance and all this like mga hugot dramas na who are trying to tick boxes.
Si Emil Nor ata yung nag-post yan, if I remember.
Oh, siya ba?
The other Emil.
Yung pala yung you're the Twitter.
Yeah.
Please tweet to...
Yeah.
You're the Twitter overlord.
Kung si
Be careful what you tweet.
si Jim ang IMDb, ang human IMDb namin. Ikaw na.
Ayan, anyone else has seen
Ewan ko ba? Yung nanonood ako ng pelikula, it really reminded me of Jowa Ball. Yung in the sense na, okay, hugot na naman siya.
Jowa Ball?
Jowa Ball. So, kasi parang, okay, nagtatry siya na kumuha ng hugot, si Jane tsaka si JC, na parang naghuhukay sila sa ilalim ng lupa tungkol sa pag-iibigan nila, pero parang walang sense yung paghuhukay nila.
Si Daryl Yap pala nakikinig right now, so...
Hi, Daryl! Bye, girl!
Yeah, you know how
I will buy her books.
Binabash yung mga...
Hindi, ang problema ko kasi about, hugot culture is that hugot lang siya eh. But it doesn't make any sense or it doesn't really know what it wants to say or what it wants to achieve. And ito rin siguro yung dahilan kung bakit hindi ko nagustuhan yung One More Chance ni... Sino nga?
Kathy Garcia Manila.
Oo.
Our favorite
Ewan ko,
director.
pasensya na, pero hindi ako fan ng... Okay, nag-aaway sila about them not having labels, hindi clear yung relationship nila, the whole film revolved around it eh. Tapos it became even worse nung pinakita na ngayong flashback about JC Santos and...
Parang may mob nag-gather sa labas kasi narinig na sinabi mong ayaw mo ng One More Chance.
Ayun na mga John Lloyd.
Mga John Lloyd Bea fans, nako po.
Nagpipikit na sila.
Ayan, pero seriously, kasi ewan ko ba, yun lang kasi yun eh. It's all superficial eh. It's all surface level. Hindi na siya nagdi-dig deeper into the layers of a relationship, about love, about trust. Yun lang siya na, okay, wala tayong labels, hindi clear yung relationship natin. So tayo muna habang hindi pa tayo. That's it.
Title drop. Pero alam mo, Ox, tama.
So, would you rather
sinabi mo
tweet na lang siya kaysa sa movie?
Pero feeling ko mas okay nga kung naging siya eh, Daryl Yap film siya eh.
Mas okay nga siguro kung parang motivation-less yung reason nila.
Mumblecore.
At saka, at first nga, akala ko mag-concentrate siya sa character ni Jane. Na this is again another guy who wants his way in a relationship. And then, ayun, binigyan na naman ng
may angle na ganun
ng flashback si JC for us to commiserate to sa kanyang pinagdadaanan. Sayang eh, kasi sayang.
And to be fair nga lang though, ang sobrang in character si Jane tsaka si JC. Talagang din naman nila yung characters nila, pero wala eh. Yun lang talaga siya eh.
Final thoughts before we go to the next film.
Pinaprocess ko pa yung Hindi, gusto ko talaga siya. Pero magandang points nga yun na nung binigyan ng backstory. Kasi ang ganda niya nung parang in the present lang siya na, yun nga, the way it started na in the middle of the action agad siya na, uy, may problema tong dalawang taon to. Pero nung binigyan siya ng lalim, or when it tried to, nawala na yung kung ano man yung edge niya na it's just...
Genesis Squad.
Ano ulit? Hindi ko po alam ibig sabihin.
Nanood ako part-time kahapon. Sarap.
Pero on the contrary na, or baka inisip ko kasi hugot lines yung ino-offer ng pelikula na I was pleased to learn na hindi lang siya, yung lines lang talaga, parang konting bonus na nga lang yun ng pelikula. Pero it's more than that. Pero it's not enough, I guess.
It's not that it's not enough eh. It's too much. For me, parang
Too much
yun
of
lang yung ginawa ng
superficiality
pelikula
or-
eh.
Naging Spice Girls na kanta to.
Nag-aaway lang talaga sila eh.
Sige
I
nga.
mean, I appreciate walk and talk films.
DJ, hawakan mo sa teka si DJ. Hawakan mo sa teka.
Pero hindi ba yun naman yung point niya? Parang obvious, or if we try to read into the intention of the film, parang yun lang naman talaga na it's just about mumblecore nga, di ba? Na in the present, two people talking.
Yun, parang, it's been done before.
Yeah, hawakan mo sa tenga. Hawakan mo sa tenga si DJ.
To be continued.